Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Signature Sip Podcast, Health and Wellness Edition. I'm so excited to announce our guest for today. Her name is Lindsay Jacobi. She is with the Glow Collective. Lindsay, thank you for coming on and being here with us.
Me. I'm really happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, before we kind of get into it, do you want to just share a little bit about yourself and tell us a little bit more about the Glow Collective and what that is?
Yeah, so I started as a female founder. I started a school in Morristown, and through that, I really found how many women in business, particularly, are losing themselves to the work, to having so many things on their plate. And as I grew within that company, I started doing coaching for women, really helping them with how to find alignment in your life when you have a million things pulling at you every single day.
I love that because I think that as women, especially when you are in the business world and as moms, there's a lot that we juggle, right? Everything between running the actual business, working with clients, but then also keeping the home in order, right? Between school drop-offs and pickups, who's doing the grocery shopping, cooking, cleaning, and still trying to find time to spend quality time with your kids. And most importantly, trying to find a second to spend time with yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that that's really where I feel most women sacrifice. You're the first thing to go on your list. So we have kind of been brought up to think that we have to do it all. We have to self-sacrifice. We have to martyr ourselves to our businesses, to our partner, to our children. Yeah. And what happens is we become so small in our own lives that we get disconnected from who we really are.
Yeah. And I was
going to say, I'm assuming that most of the women you work with, and I think that we're all pretty familiar with this, experience a lot of burnout, which is really, that's probably happening at a slow burn. And then at a certain point, it's just, kind of hits them and they're like, okay, I'm really have kind of lost myself here and don't know where to start to kind of rebuild.
Yeah. That's where I think I find women coming in with the pain of suddenly one day you kind of look around and you're like, I've built this really successful life on paper. You have these are really high functioning women. These are women who've built huge companies, massive, and are super successful. So they're super successful in their business. And they have the kids, the family, the beautiful home, all of these things, but they turn around, they open their eyes one day and they're kind of like, where am I in my own life? Where have I gone? And a lot of times they find that in, especially their health. Sometimes it's their appearance, their beauty, the way that they connect with their partner in intimacy, feeling like snippy at their kids because they're just kind of always running on empty. So they don't show up as the best version of themselves for those people, the most important people in their lives.
It's interesting because you said that usually when you're running around and all of this is happening, the first thing to go is your time with yourself. And it's funny because I relate to that in the sense of when I had my kids, so my kids are super young. I'm in the toddler stage still, 3 and 4, and they're only 15 months apart. So I felt like I was in postpartum for 3 years straight. And I'm sure if, anyone that's also listening and you have kids, you can relate to that because you are the first to go. There is no time for you when you are just 24/7 running around and taking care of the kids, especially at that newborn stage, and then you're pregnant again, and now you have a baby while you have a second baby, and now you have 2 babies, and they depend on you so much. They're not independent. They can't do anything by themselves yet. And you're just trying to find air to breathe while also showing up to work and trying to come to work in your best self. It's very difficult to take a second to just breathe and recognize, hey, you know, it's okay for me to just like pause and not do anything. And it's okay for me to take a longer shower.
Alone.
In silence. And, you know, leave the house and go get my nails done and leave the house to go get a facial, right? Because after a while, especially when you're very self-conscious, you start to realize, hold on a second, like none of this can function if I don't get myself into a good place, because everything that we do has to be taken care of internally first. That's just my belief. And I have, you know, there's one thing that I really stand by, and that is happy moms raise happy children, and nothing else matters. And so when you look at it from that perspective as a mom, you know, a working mom, you have to ask yourself, well, what am I doing for myself to make sure that I feel complete and happy so that I can operate from that state when I'm approaching my kids? Because when there is a tantrum, but you are good inside, you're not going to react to it the same way than if you're operating on 0 and your child is having a tantrum. And I've seen the difference, you know?
Yeah. I think what I find so surprising is a lot of women think that by doing more, you know, you produce more for your, you know, your business needs more of you, your children need more, your husband needs more, your home needs more. And really so many times it's actually less. They need less. So that I really resonate with the say no more. Yeah. So a lot of times we think that we have to say yes to everything. Women are historically people pleasers. We think that we have to do everything for everyone. We have to say yes to every kid activity, every birthday party, every sports thing. We have to do all the things for the husband because we just are culturally expected to do it all, to show up amazing for every single piece of life. And the more I think that women can actually say no and take things off of their plate and do less, you can see where your family thrives actually better when you do less. You have more downtime or just time to do. Sometimes doing nothing is really beautiful, and you can have that time with your family. And even in business, a lot of the clients that I work with, I'm always challenging them on taking more things off of their plate, doing actually less. So it's sort of this theory of do less better instead of do more to make more money. And a lot of times women find that all the areas of their lives kind of go more into alignment when they start taking pieces out of each of those areas, like less kids activities, less things that you're saying yes to at work, and signing up for, not signing up for all of the things, and really just carving out that space for yourself and protecting that space for yourself like it's the most important appointment on your calendar.
I think that's probably more challenging for people than they imagine. You know, I just look at myself personally thinking, like, if I had to look at my plate, what can I take off my plate? No one wants to feel like they have to take something off their plate, because it maybe makes you feel inside like, okay, I can't manage this, right? Or I can't do it all. And people, women don't want to have to feel like that. But do you look at, like, when you have a session with one of your clients, do you look at just I know you look at all areas of their life. You just kind of get like an overview from them and then just work section by section. How do you kind of go through that process?
I will go as far as, like, we will literally go and almost like color code your day. It's work, kids, husband, you, and we can look through it and really say, first of all, what are your values? Like, what is most important to you personally in your life? And if you can rank your values and the things that are most important to you, but they're not on there, they're not in that color-coded calendar. Right. So you could say something's a value, but it's not really a value to you unless you're putting your time or your money into it. So for the first thing I love to do is be like, let's actually look at your calendar. Where is there space for you on here? And And then based off those values, finding the things, how can we get you more in alignment with what you really say that you want for your life? Because so many of us will sit there and be like, oh, travel is so important to me, or exercise is so important to me, or, having a really beautiful, loving marriage that my children can see this is what love and intimacy looks like. But then their calendar is like work, sports, volunteering here, doing this, parent, like maybe it's caregiving parents. I mean, there's so many things. And I love to challenge women and say, you just told me 3 things that are top for you, and I don't see them anywhere on your calendar, or I see them like squeezed into the maybe 1 hour on Friday. So then we start really pairing, like going through and saying, if you say that this is important to you, what are you willing to? And I don't want to say sacrifice, because it's not about sacrificing any one piece. It's about reorganizing the day to say, is this more important than this? If you say that you showing up and showing your children what a beautiful, loving marriage looks like, but you're putting on your calendar this work appointment over having a night with your husband or something like that, then I challenge women, like, well, is it really more important? Then you're literally saying that this is more important than this.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes it's just a mindset shift around some of the stuff that we're saying yes to.
It's a really good point. And I think that a lot of us, or many of us, are visual. And sometimes because we're so used to putting everything that is work related into our schedules, we don't even think to put our life on schedule, right? Like the life activities of, I'm going to do this with my kids on this day, or I'm going to do this with my husband on this day, or I'm going to spend time with my friends on this day. And so we're used to managing and balancing the work calendar and optimizing it, but not so much when it comes to life. I like the fact that you mentioned the mindset piece, because I do think it comes down to mindset and the way that most women, I never like to say all or none, but most women, we are people pleasers. We grow up with this mentality of always sacrificing ourselves for the better good of the family, of the kids, of everything. And so we think often that if we do something for ourselves, it's like you almost sometimes feel guilty. Like, no, how can I barely see my kids because I'm always at work. So if I go get my nails done every single 2 weeks, that's extra time I'm taking away from my kids. However, it is important, right? Because something small makes me feel better about myself and makes me feel put together. Or for example, like, being in the real estate industry, right, with clients and taking phone calls, especially on weekends when you're trying to hang out with your family and your kids, and everything is prioritized as a fire. But in reality, like, if you break it down, is it a true fire, right? Is it okay if you don't pick up a phone call because you're out having ice cream with your kids on Saturday during the summertime, right? And the truth is, if you take a step back to not operate from a place of scarcity.
I love that word, yeah.
It's okay. You can enjoy the ice cream that you're having with your kids, with the big smiles that they have on their face, so happy that they're spending quality time with their mommy and she didn't pick up that phone call, to then later go call your client back. Because to be honest, you're actually doing them a disservice when you pick up the phone call and you're busy with your kids enjoying their time, because now you're splitting your time in two, versus, I'm so sorry, I had an appointment and I'm just getting back to you. There's no client that's going to say, oh, why didn't you call me? Or why didn't you pick up the phone when you were on an appointment? They don't need to know you were on an appointment with your children. Like, right?
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
They don't.
I think that is exactly it. We think that everything is going to burn down if I don't do it immediately. And that again, culturally, it's like everything is immediate, right? We have our phones in our, so everyone's expected to like immediately get back to everyone else. And you think that and I think that we almost have a guilt about, if I do something for myself, if I spend time on myself, or if I don't jump every time someone says like, I need you, that we're being selfish. And truly what women are doing is we're completely self-abandoning to show up for everything and everyone. And then we wonder why we're so disconnected from our, like I use the word feminine energy a lot, because there's this softness that women are supposed to act out of the feminine, and that is not the energy of like go, answer every call, do all these things, schedule. That is not the feminine. The feminine is in softness and flow and taking things as they come because it feels really good. Like, oh, you know what? I feel like this block of time is really where I have the most energy for work, or this time of my day is really when I need to focus on me because I'm super depleted during that time of day. And when we function from the masculine, which is that all day, every day from 7 to 7, I'm on, we lose a piece of ourselves, which is really essential to who we are as women, to be that soft, loving mother, to be that that spouse that can really be available for the intimacy that is between man and woman, or and even our work, we think that we have to function in that go to be successful. But as women, we actually function better if we honor our natural feminine energy of the rhythm of what really is you and your day-to-day energy versus trying to be like a man and just work all the time. Because women, the feminine is receiving. So it's really actually stepping back more and letting the things kind of come to us in the way that they're designed to or flow to us.
I like that. Do you find that most of the women that you work with, that you say to them, okay, maybe you do need to focus more on yourself or spend more alone time, that some of them don't actually feel comfortable doing that or really know how to spend alone time because they are never alone, so they don't even know what to do with
it's so, and that's such a
because
big,
I love being alone.
I love my alone
But I can imagine that's a challenge for some people.
It is, and especially high functioning women, they feel like if I have a minute, I need to be productive. I need to be doing something. I remember I had this one client, and she had this beautiful home with this gorgeous pool that she never got to enjoy. And it was something so simple as she had these little like 15-minute breaks kind of in her day. She worked from home, but she was really like high level, obviously position at her company. And my challenge to her was, go sit outside by your pool for 15 minutes and do nothing. Just be. Don't be on your phone. Don't try to weed. Like, 'cause she would be like going out just like, oh my gosh. And then I saw the weed over there. And it was like, it's like, we can't even, it's almost like
for a second,
you can't be with yourself. And that, I mean, that is what actually erodes away at our connection to our own soul. I use that word because when you can't be alone with yourself, you have all the distractions. You're constantly going and doing. It's like in those moments where you're alone, that's when you look at yourself and you're like, who even am I? Like, I don't even know myself because I never spend time with myself. How are you supposed to know yourself if you don't spend any time with yourself? And it is really hard. I mean, it was to the point where it was an accountability thing with her. It was, did you go outside today for 15 minutes and do nothing? Like, have you had your block? And sometimes it's a walk. Sometimes it's, whatever the thing that person is having challenges and needs to prioritize. It's like, all you need to do is take a small step each day towards that. And I think we think it's this big undertaking. Like, we think of self-care and we're like, I got to go to the spa or I need to, and it does not have to be that. It can be, take a 30-minute walk outside with don't try to be productive and listen to an audiobook or like take a phone call or whatever. Like, just go and walk and be with your own thoughts for 30 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever the block of time that you can do it, go do it. And it's amazing to see after even just a couple weeks of doing that multiple times a week, just the lightness. Like I've had clients tell me that their husbands in particular, when they start working with me, will say, you seem so much happier, or like you seem so much lighter. Or you're less like you've been really, because a lot of times they'll come to me saying like, I'm just so sick of being so snippy all the time. And the shift can be almost immediate, like within a week of just recognizing when you're overdoing, overcompensating, becoming resentful because we're doing all the things and then we're like mad about it. Yeah. But we said yes to 25 million things that we don't really have time for because we thought we had to do everything for everyone. And then we're pissed that we have too much to do and no one's helping.
That is so true. But it's like you're the one that said yes. And then you're like, damn it, why did I say yes to all those things? However, I did one table, I 1000% agree and I relate, because it's like when you do say yes to everything and you feel bad saying no, and I've been in that place before where I would commit to so many things and then I'm mad at myself. So now I'm like also critiquing myself, like as to why did I say yes?
Beat yourself up after too.
Exactly. Because you're just like, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't fit into my schedule whatsoever. I have to literally go through loops to make this schedule work now today. Why did I do that when I could have just picked, one of the things to say yes to and just say sorry because I'm thinking about how other people are going to feel. But I do think as you get older, you do start to realize, everyone is thinking about themselves. And when you get to that place, when you start to realize how much of a people pleaser you are because you're scared to say no, because you're worried about what someone else is going to think, or they're going to get upset at you because you can't come to their, function or birthday or whatever it is, because it just doesn't work with your schedule or your kid's schedule. I do think you have to take a second to say, but why would they be upset? Because if someone said no to me, I'm the type of person that's like, oh, no problem. I never hold it against them. Like, it didn't work out and it's okay. Like, it just, you can't make it. It's not a big deal. Why am I worried that if I say no, they're going to be upset, and why do I care about that?
Well, and that's the thing. It's about let them. If they get mad, just be okay. So that's their thing. That's their problem if they're going to be upset about that.
Right.
And I love to live by the let your yes be a hell yes. Like only say yes when it is a full body yes. Everything else is a no. Yeah. Because like you said, if you're saying yes to all these little things, because you're and your yes should 100% come from a place of like, wow, I really desire it. Like, this is something I really want to do. Yeah. This is really important to me, and not because I feel guilty, because I think this person's going to be upset, or I should. I love to tell women, if you ever hear yourself saying, well, I should, like take that. That's the first thing to go. Like, you should.
Famous
it's like,
words.
No. And I make them actually rephrase it and say, no, I choose to do this because. If you say should, I want you to take that out and say, I choose to do this thing because of this. So that you actually have to acknowledge that you are choosing to do it, not because you. So if it's like, oh, okay, I should get up early and go to work. No, I choose to get up early to go to work because I enjoy fine things and I want money. Right. So it's rephrasing. Not I should. It's I'm choosing to do this because I have a reason that's important to my life, and it's and that just is a reframe. Because then sometimes when you actually reframe that and you use that term, you might be like, actually, I don't know why I'm choosing
like,
this.
I can't get past the I choose because I really just don't choose to do it.
Exactly.
I actually don't choose this at all. Yes. Like, I don't even know who I'm doing this for.
Yes, it's so true.
Yeah, and that's a great way to figure out for yourself what you don't want to do, or what you're doing out of a place of guilt or obligation or anything but true alignment. I always talk about alignment. If it's not that full body yes, you're doing it out of guilt or obligation, it's going to create a discomfort in you. And that's where that snippy, that bitter, that resentful, that angry place pops up out of, is doing things that are not in alignment with who you really are.
Right. What do you feel, because you mentioned briefly on this, what is your view on the whole masculinity or femininity, especially when it comes to business? Because there's so much, I feel like, content around this, and people have different voices.
Yeah.
I have my own as well, but I'm curious to hear from your perspective, like, in order to succeed in business, since you work with a lot of female entrepreneurs, do you think there's room in the business world to still tune into your femininity, or does it have to be really pulling into your masculine energy when you're in the workspace?
I mean, I think that everybody has a balance of both. Obviously, you know, men have feminine and masculine, women have feminine and masculine.
Of course.
I think that actually too many women think that to be successful, you have to be more in your masculine. And so much of the business coaching and work out there is around the way that men do business. And it doesn't serve us as women. So yes, there are going to be times when you have to go into your masculine, you know, for systematizing things and structure, because the masculine is really like the structure and the container, right? But as women, your business is going to do better actually if you're leaning more into the feminine, which is the softer, which is the receiving, which is being available to follow your intuition on things versus, like I said, the business way that coaches talk about for men is do, go, hustle harder, go harder, do more. That's how and that is not the way women actually create really successful and sustainable for yourself. Because what happens when we build from that energy, we get to a place where we just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, that's definitely key, is what you just said, the sustainability, because what good is it if you're going to burn out in no time? That's so important.
Yeah. And that's what we see all the time. And these women, I mean, I had a client who built a huge, like, multi-million-dollar company, and she literally was like, I'm just done. Yeah. Like, I need to walk away. She had a business partner that was very in her masculine, and it was so stressful. And she just like walked away. And she's like, all I want to do right now is just nothing for a few years, because it was so depleting. And it's shocking and it's scary, because it's like when we build these things, it's a child for us. It's this, it's had been such a big undertaking, and then to just have to be completely out because it's your mental health, your physical health too. That's what I see another area when women function out of that, from that masculine energy and building their businesses. Of what a lot of times happen, the burnout is this word, they will get taken out by illness, because their bodies are under so much stress all the time from going. Your body, if you don't slow down and take care of yourself, your body will force you to.
You won't have an option. Your body will give out before you do.
You will have to be in bed. I've seen women get chronic illnesses, and even just, you know, some out of the blue, like a flu, but that lasts for weeks. You know, some of this stuff where it's the physical manifestation in your body of holding too much, of never listening to the signals. When, you know, I say when you get a yellow, which is kind of like, wow, I'm feeling depleted. If you don't listen to that yellow, you will get a full stop red, and your body will just stop you in your tracks. Yeah. And it'll be at the most inconvenient time, versus if you listen to the yellow and you schedule it in of like, okay, I really need to listen to my body. I need to listen to my intuition telling me that I'm doing too much. You can then you can schedule. You can say, oh, you know what, I'm going to make time here. I'm going to take this thing off so that I can give myself what I need, versus when you hit that red and you didn't plan for it. Talk about taking you out if you're out for a few weeks or months, or who knows, depending on what happens.
I think that arguably the time, especially women who are, you know, in business or building a business, that time when you get into and it's different for everyone, you know, you start having kids, you're building your business, when that time period, as your children go up, that is arguably the hardest time in women's lives, because, you know, and all these things that are happening on a day-to-day basis, and where you're like, oh my gosh, it's so much, I'm doing so much. You know, I'm feeling like this, I'm feeling exhausted. People are just thinking to themselves, women are thinking, oh, this is just like the way life is. It's phase. Just, I'm going. I'm just going through a phase. It's going to be hard. But that's the yellow. That's the point in time where you're like, okay, if I don't take a step back and just really get a hold of what's happening in my body now, my parasympathetic nervous system is like going. It's constantly lighting up. And then you're reaching this ultimate crash and burn. And then you're really no good to anybody, especially yourself. So it's important that we recognize those warning signs early on. And I think it's important, you know, it's great that your clients have that in you, and I'm sure you put them in touch with a lot of good resources if needed also.
Well, we workshop things. It's like, there's, what I tell them is a solution always exists to your challenge. So if it's like, you know, I need help with XYZ in my home or in my business, like a solution always exists. And sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. And by workshopping out, well, what could work, or what could give you that time that you need? How could it work? And looking at it from there, because a lot of times we just think, well, I just don't have an option, or I just can't, and that's never true. There's always a solution. And sometimes it's just being able to talk that through with someone who can really be like just very solution focused, solution oriented. And from the experience of working with so many different women who have built these huge business. I mean, I myself had, when I started the school, I had just had my third baby. He was born in May and we started in September. So I had 3 little kids. Wow. I was starting a school. It was like, what was I, you know, at that time, I was like, what was I thinking? And I had an amazing coach at the time that helped me to recognize, like, what were the most important things for me to be focusing on and what were not. And if it wasn't the most important things at that time, those were the things that I was seeking out support. I was seeking out help. I was seeking out, whether it was in my home, like it was not important at that time for me to do my own laundry. Right. That was like just one of those things. And I think, like you were saying before, we feel guilty, like, well, we can't do it all. Yeah. Oh, something's wrong with me if I can't do it all. And the truth is, something's wrong with you if you think you can do it all.
We're not meant
to do it all,
right?
We think we're meant to do it all because we see on, you know, social media all these women who are doing it all, but they're inside, they're suffering. Yeah. So it's kind of the giving up the belief that we have to do it all, and really giving up the guilt or shame or whatever's beneath the thought that you have to be the only person, the curator and of your whole, like, everyone's lives. I mean, and something else that comes up a lot is then years down the line, I'll see women who started their lives and their businesses that way, doing everything, and then they wonder in 10 years, 5 years, why their husband doesn't do anything in the house, why their kids don't do it. And you train people how to treat you. So if you do everything all the time, the people in your life learn that you're just going to do it. So they stop doing it. And then again, 10 years, because I work with women in all different phases of life, they turn around and they're so pissed about the life that they've built because they're like, nobody does shit for me. I feel like I'm a slave girl all the time. And it's like, well, because you've been doing everything for a decade. So you've really trained your whole family how to treat you like the maid and the cook and the, you know, all these things. And, you know, so the earlier you can start being like, well, where can I get support? How can I let my children or my husband be in charge of his own life? And the sooner that women can implement some of those things into their lives, the better for the long-term health of the family and the marriage and the business too. If in your business, everybody thinks that you are the solution person, you're the person that everyone has to go to, you will forever be the person that everyone has to go to. And you will be like, why am I the person who has to solve all the problems? Instead of empowering others in your business, like, hey, you know what? So-and-so, you're really good at this thing. I think that you could totally handle this as your area of expertise, and you could do these things and you could take on those And it's not something that I have to be in charge of. And handing off, delegating.
Mastering delegation.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's so true. I mean, I think that I don't think women consciously always know that that's what they're doing, in the sense they just think that that's their role and that's how, you grow up. I think what's interesting in our society and like the world that we live in today, right? We're in 2026, a woman's role has significantly shifted, yet culturally, she is still somewhat expected to take on all of those chores, right? That we want to say. So, but the question then comes down to, back in the day when the woman really was in charge of the entire household, that was the thing that she focused on. That is what she took pride in, right? And that is what our parents raised us to believe, like, as little girls, like, this is what you do and things like that. However, obviously our generation, things are different. It's very different, right, in today's world, because we are responsible for the household, yet we're also, have full-time jobs and careers, and we enjoy it because we enjoy what we're doing and we want to continue growing in our careers. And the question is, how do you find that balance? And I don't think you can do that without delegation. And I don't think you can do that without realizing, hey, and oftentimes this happens with A-type personalities, right? I would say also because you keep it silent, right? Because you want to be the best at everything. You want to be the best at work. You want to be the best in your house. You want to be the best with your kids. You want to be the best with like making sure everything is perfect, when it's like virtually impossible to make it happen. But you're striving for that, to say, you know what? I can only have like 2 out of the 3 things be good, right? Like, if I am spending time with my kids, I have to accept that it's okay if my house looks like a complete circus by the end of the night, right? And that is okay. And it's okay. Like, something I had to do is I clean my entire like downstairs every single night. Something I had to start doing is saying to myself, it's okay if tonight I choose to literally just sit on my couch and drink tea after I put my kids down to sleep, and I will clean this mess tomorrow night.
I'm like literally every day, I'm like, I don't need to do that.
But I did and I felt guilty because I like waking up to a clean, sparkling kitchen, or like waking up and having the living room in order. Like, for me, that was a balance. Yeah. Like, it was so difficult to let go of that, because I would get like, I would critique myself because I would feel like I'm a bad mom, or and how dare I not clean the living room, or the kitchen. But when I started to realize, and you weigh the 2 out, and you start to think about real life and reality, and not the picture perfect moments, or like what you see on Instagram, or the help that other people are probably getting in the background that they're not posting about, by the way.
I was going to say that.
By the way, right? No one wants to tell you that part. If I'm a one-woman show and it's an insane day, I came home, I had time to spend time with my kids, I did bedtime, I put them to sleep, the house looks like a circus right now. And sometimes it's okay to say, you know what? We're gonna live in this circus. and I'm gonna take a second to enjoy some peace and quiet, and drink my tea, and spend some time with myself tonight. And the world will not end. I will not die because my living room didn't get put back together tonight. For
sure. Yeah.
But that's a hard thing to do.
It is.
When you're used to doing it all, and you're used to keeping everything kind of in order, and you're showing up, especially like at work, and then in your house, you're just like, what happened here? What happened here?
Yeah. I mean, I think that I like to tell women, like, you can have it all.
Yeah.
You just can't do it all. So you
Right.
can have it all. You can have the clean living room. You can have but that's going to look like you having support.
Yes.
Which maybe it is hiring the help, or maybe,
Yes.
maybe it's a babysitter that comes in from 5 to 6 to like play with the kids or help clean up or whatever. But I always say you can have it all. You just can't do it all.
You just can't do it
So
all.
you can have whatever you want. So if you want to work, go and work a lot, and you want to also have time with your kids, and you want to also have a clean home, 100% it's all available for you. But you can't be the only person doing everything all the time.
Yeah, you can't be the one that's actually doing
that won't work.
Yeah.
That won't work. But that doesn't mean you can't have it all in your life. Because I think we think, oh, I have to sacrifice here, I have to sacrifice there. You actually don't.
Yeah.
You just have to sacrifice feeling like you have to be the person to do all the things,
right,
for it to happen, or for it to be a part of your life.
Right. And also sitting down with yourself and thinking, okay, well, what can I take off my plate, right?
Yeah.
Can I hire a cleaning lady? Can I have someone do my laundry? Can I don't know what else there is. I mean, there's lots of things, but what can I get help
when I
with?
was building? Yeah. And it's acknowledging when again, I said I had a really little baby, and it was acknowledging that if I wanted to be able to show up at all for my work or my kids, my home had to be someone else. Like I pretty much had full-time help at that time of just putting the house back together, the dishes, the laundry. I knew that I could not be fully available for my family and my work if I was the housekeeper.
Right.
And it was okay. And honestly, now my life has shifted, and I have a lot more time where I actually enjoy doing some of the things that, like keeping my house beautiful.
Yeah.
And, where before it was stressful for me to think about it. And now I actually like it. And I, cook more and do things that I couldn't do at that time. And I was okay with saying, this is just not going to be my season of cooking 5-course meals, or because I'm in building mode for my business, or whatever it is, but acknowledging it's okay to have the help, to get the support. And maybe that's not, not every woman can hire support, but that could be like in your home from your spouse, or, maybe you have family or whatever, but it's being okay with asking for the support too.
Asking for help.
Yeah.
I think women struggle with asking for help because it does make you feel like I can't. That means you have to admit that I can't handle all, but it's not about admitting. It's just recognizing the fact that goes back to the quote, right? Like, it takes a village. It takes a village to raise a family and raise children, not raise, but have a family and raise children, and also prioritize your career and be able to do everything, right? And I think there's beauty in that. I don't think that we were ever meant to do it all alone. I think that as humans, we love to connect. I think that's why we're so drawn to community and being around, even in work, right? You like to surround yourself. And I think about NJRESN, right? Like, that is a community of, people in the real estate world, investors, agents coming together on a monthly basis to connect with like-minded individuals. And I think you have to think of your home in a similar fashion, where my family and everyone surrounding it's a community. We are all doing this together, even surrounding yourself with like-minded friends to connect with, and other moms and entrepreneurs who are going through the same stuff. I mean, I think that's how, I mean, Jackie and I think you and I have gotten closer just because we relate on a lot of these topics, right? And there's something to be said where it's not a bad thing. There's actually beauty in that, right? And realizing, wait, I'm not the only one, and I'm not the only one that's also struggling, and I'm not the only one that is going through all of these feelings and emotions and trying to figure it out. And to your point, you're like, hey, I work with a lot of these women. Let me share from their experiences some of the things that they're doing to ease into that. And that's what community does, right? Yeah. You help each other out. So yeah,
100%. And if you're around people who make you feel bad about needing help, so if you have that friend who acts like she's got it all together and I can do it all, and kind of makes you feel usually that's a good indication that that's a person maybe needs to be distanced from your life. So I say, like, if there's people in your life, and sometimes we can get that from parents. Sometimes it's like, you know what, I don't talk to a parent about that particular thing because they make me feel bad for not being able to do it all. And it's, you know, recognizing your relationships too, who's pouring into you and nurturing, and who's making you feel badly about however you're living your life, especially as female entrepreneurs, women who are building businesses. We get a lot of judgment and not everyone understands. So it's really, like you were saying, about curating your circle of people to be people who get it and get what you're doing and don't make you feel bad about hiring the help, or, you know, not being able to carry 25 million things at the same time because they get it. They're like, it's not like going to an office maybe every day, or, you know, you have a lot of things coming at you, and other female entrepreneurs can recognize that and support you in a different way than maybe your neighbor or, you know, a kid's friend, its mom or something like that. And I that was a huge thing I had to recognize, was who I was surrounding myself with definitely was either nourishing or depleting, depending on the circles I was with. And as soon as I was able to recognize that and kind of distance myself from people who made me feel bad about what I was doing and the time I was spending maybe away from my kids or building what I was building, once I recognized that those were people that weren't really supposed to be in my sphere, and started finding the people who really did support me and build me up and made me feel like just amazing, and were acknowledging and affirming some of the things I was doing, and that really is soul nourishing. So finding your women that can really support you and be there for you is so important too.
Yeah, it's powerful because it makes you kind of realize, like, okay, I'm not the only one, right? And it's okay because we're all different and we're all on different paths, and we deal with different things and we have different journeys, right? Like someone that is a female entrepreneur, they're raising a family on top of that, their day to day is going to look significantly different from someone who is a stay-at-home mom. And like, I think there's beauty in being a stay-at-home mom, but there's going to be other struggles, right? The two aren't going to relate a little bit. So having other women that are entrepreneurs and in that space, their life is going to look very different, right? So Lindsay, having worked with, you know, different types of female entrepreneurs specifically, from your experiences, what are some things or like initial advice that you give to them off the back, or like some tips that you can give for anyone tuning in that's listening to this episode? They're trying to do it all, right? Like, and they come to you. Where do you start?
Like I said earlier, start with your values. Like, either it's in your business, what are your business values? What are your home values? What are your values as a family? And start with that. Start with your values. Because if you can start with your values, you can design a life. Your business should support your life. It should be designed around your life. So if you're not creating a business around your values for your life, you're going to end up unhappy. So really thinking about your values and designing every step of the way, designing your business to fit into your life and not the other way around. So, you know, you don't want to be living to work. So that would really be my first tip to women, is just, or really any entrepreneur, but particularly women, because we do carry so much. It's figure out what those are, and then figure out how your business is going to fit into those values for you.
And then maybe do a color coding exercise, right? With
and
your
then
calendar.
Take a good hard look at your schedule and figure out, does it really reflect those values currently? I mean, if you're new in business, it's a little bit, I think, easier to start from the base and design it from scratch with that in mind. If you're a more established business owner, it's figuring out, what have I created? Sometimes we've created a monster, and it's kind of looking at all of the pieces of, wow, what have I've created this monster of doing everything in my business, and seeing where are the areas that I can change how I'm doing things so that this business can support my life, and the life that I really want to build for myself, with my business as a part of it to support it, and take it from there.
Wonderful. Thank you so
Love
much.
that, yeah. And you have a little gift for everyone who's tuned into this episode, if you want to share.
Definitely. So if you find me on Instagram, my Instagram is Lindsay Stewart Jacobi, or my website is glowupcollective.co, and just mention the podcast, and you can do a 90-minute session with me for free, and I will go through that schedule with you. We'll talk about the values. We'll start seeing where we can, if you have energy leaks, things that are happening in your life that we can start to cut out, work out, delegate, find solutions. If you think there's just no way that your day or your life could look different than it looks right now, I promise you a solution exists, and we can find it in a 90-minute session. So they can reach out to me for that.
I love that. Thank you so much for offering that. And we'll link it also below this video so that you guys can get in contact with Lindsay. Great. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing this. I think this was an awesome conversation, because there are so many female entrepreneurs and they're so badass and, killing it. But I feel like this message is also to remind them all that it's okay to take a second to just breathe and really spend quality time with yourself as a woman, right? And, happy moms raise happy kids.
Yeah, make sure you're killing it and not yourself in the process.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This was great.
Awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.